Hey, time for the next part. So we are in the part number 4. So we're gonna work a bit more with the user again. So in the last episode, if you remember, we finally been able to create a user, but the problem we got was the user, when we save with the password, like password 123, and this is not what you want. You want to make a bit more security. And so we're gonna crypt the password. After that, my plan is to do the stuff with passport. So again, remember, I always gonna push to GitHub. The master gonna be always the latest version, where I put all the link and everything. And if you want to see the branch example, like in the episode 2, you can click here, and you're gonna see what we done in the episode 2. So this is just for telling you that. So the plan for this one, add bcrypt and passport. The first thing we're gonna do is I want to add rimraf. So rimraf, finally, it's for the user of macOS. You know, like you can delete a folder just by doing rf, but the Windows user don't have access to this command. So rimraf make it available for everyone to just make this delete folder. So we're gonna just make it running before we finally run the build. So that's just gonna be sure we're gonna make it like if we remove some stuff, that's gonna still working, and that's gonna be a cleaner build. So that we're gonna crypt the password, create the local strategy with passport, and I want to be able to log as a user. So time to start. So in the terminal, yarn add npm add ndev dependency rimraf. So rimraf, perfect. So here I'm gonna just run yarn because So after we have installed rimraf, just to be sure we have it, So now what we're gonna do, it's inside script. We're gonna create another script called clean. This command gonna be simple: rimraf dist, this folder right there. So here, before we build, what we're gonna do, it's npm run or yarn run. So yarn run clean and webpack w. So now if I do this, look what's gonna happen. Here I have my dist folder. So now if I run yarn dev :build, I delete my dist folder, and now it's coming back. Perfect, because now it's the new one. Perfect, this is what we want. Now we need a library for crypt the password. So that's gonna be the name of this library. It's bcrypt.nodejs. So why bcrypt nodejs when we have bcrypt? It's because if you use Windows, you're gonna get some kind of problem again. So I want to make it available to everyone. So yarn add bcrypt nodejs. Perfect. So just for recapitulate what happened. So I'm gonna do user sign up. Oh, it's so easy. Why? Because I've saved it in my collection in Postman. I'm gonna create a new user. Don't worry if this user, it's gonna I need to make my server work first. So yarn dev. Perfect. So now if I run it, so now this is my user. So if I go to my RoboMongo and I refresh, so don't worry, I delete everything. If you want to delete, you can just do right click and delete document. So here, this is the user I just create. This is the problem right there. Password, it's hello world 1. This is not what we want. So what I'm gonna do, it's I want to crypt this stuff. It's really easy, don't worry with that. We go to user model. So inside user model, we're gonna make the crypt when the user pre-save. So at the top right there, we're gonna import from bcrypt nodejs. We're gonna import something called hash sync. So I want the difference between hash and hash sync. It's hash sync, it's synchronous. So I don't need to care about like the promises and everything. So here what I'm gonna do, it's I'm gonna create first thing a method inside my user. So I'm gonna open an object here and I'm gonna say hash password. That's gonna be a function. This function take only one argument. That's gonna be the password of the user coming from the front end. Remember, this password is the password coming from the front end. The user go to your app, enter his email, enter his password, and this is the password we just sent right there. Return hsync password, nothing more. We just return the password crypted. So here, that's gonna be synchronously. So here, when we're gonna call this method, the result of this method gonna be the password crypted. When do I'm gonna use it? This is what you ask, right there. User schema, we're gonna add a pre-hook. So Mongoose, it's awesome, and they have add some pre-hook coming with MongoDB. So one of them, it's pre-save. So before the user is saved. Here, I'm gonna use function, and I'm gonna put the callback next here. So here, what happened, what I'm sure what you ask, it's why do you use function? Because I want to have access to the this. And if I use the arrow function, I'm gonna lose my this. Finally, the this don't gonna be my user. So here, what I'm gonna do, if this is modified, so, and I'm gonna pass password like that. What this line of code do right there? This, it's my user. So remember, this equal user is modified. So what I mean is, if we want the user to be able to update his profile. Example, we want the user to be able to maybe change his email. If we don't do the if this is modified, the password gonna be recrypted again. So here what do we say? Because remember, when you update a user in Mongo, you're gonna call the .save. So the save method. That's why we need this line of code here. It's just because we don't want the server to make the crypt again. That's it. But if we want to change the password because the user don't remember a password, that's gonna work, because here what we say, if this is modified, so if the password is modified, here, this is that password. So the password of my user now gonna be equal to this, that underscore hash password, because now a method it's available inside this user. A methods go to a user, so it's like a prototype of the user. Finally, now I'm gonna do this, and now I'm gonna do this that password. So now finally what happened? It's the new password gonna be equal to the password crypted. Remember, this is the value coming in here. After that, here I'm gonna just return next. So this thing, it's done. That's it. And here what I'm gonna do, it's return next if nothing happened. So here I can just do like that. Perfect. Time to test it. Yeah, nothing more to do. I mean, this is the pre-save. We don't need to do nothing. Mongo's gonna make it for us. Test. John do that. I'm gonna send. Boom. Password. Man, we are really far away from the Hello World 1. No? Now we have a crypted password. Do we work in RoboMongo? So if I open RoboMongo, I'm gonna refresh. My first one was encrypted, Hello World 1. My second one, boom, password like that. This is good. This is what we want. Now we want to log in your app. So what we're gonna do, it's now we need to use a service called Passport. So here, Passport is just a library, easy to use to make authentication in Node.js. They have a lot of strategy. You can use some strategy like Facebook, Google, Twitter. You can use basic out and everything. The two we're gonna use for this tutorial gonna be the local strategy and the JWT. Today we're gonna work with the local. So if we search here inside the strategy, we're gonna use the Passport local. Yeah, so they don't have it, but trust me, they not inside the docs, but they have. So, so what we need to do, it's inside your terminal. We need to install two libraries: yarn app passport. So we need the first password, and one of the strategy, passport local. So after that, I'm going to create a new folder inside my source folder that's going to be called services. Services, yeah. So that's going to be all my service in my application. I'm going to create one called out.services. So service. So I'm going to have multiple out. Here, what I'm going to do, that's going to be my logic of passport. So I'm going to do import passport from passport. But before I do this, I need to do something. I need to initialize my application, my Express application with passport. It's easy, really easy. Copy paste the line we just did with Command C. What I just did is Shift Command, and I go there and I do Command Z. Go to your middleware config at the top of the file right there. Import it. So that scroll down after the body parser right there. We're gonna do app.use as a middleware. We're gonna use passport that initialize. Nothing more to do for initialize the application with passport. After that, inside the service here, we're gonna import the local strategy from passport local. After that, I want to have access to my user models. So my user model coming in from the database. After that, I'm going to create some option for my local strategy. So I'm going to call this object called local ops. And the only thing I'm going to say, it's username field going to be equal to email. Why did I need to do that? Because by default, passport use username, passport local use username and password. I hate that. I like more email, because I mean, if a user forget its email, that's gonna be hard. I mean, but he can don't remember its username, so that's why. Here I'm gonna create my local login, or I can call this one strategy in lowercase. So that's gonna be a new local strategy. Here we're gonna pass two things. The first thing gonna be local ops. After that, we're gonna need to pass a callback, and the callback gonna be email, password, and done. So this is what coming from the front end. But what I told you in the last one, in the last episode, or maybe the second one, I love easing await. I don't like promise. I like promises, but I like more easing await. I don't like callbacks. So what I'm gonna do, async right there. So now I have access to the word async. I'm gonna start with a try catch. Why I start with that is because if I have an error in everything I have inside my try, I don't need to do another if error, because my catch gonna catch everything. Here I'm gonna do the catch again first, return the error and false. So here my done mean I'm returning my callback with an error as the first argument and no user at all, nothing. Here I'm gonna say const user equal await user that find one, because we want only one user, and we're gonna find it by email. That's it. If I have no user, I'm gonna return done with no error, because if I have an error, that's gonna be there, and false. So finally, the user, it's not logged here because we don't have a user. So that means this user cannot be logged because it's maybe not create. It's not a good email. So else if user that password it's not equal to password, I'm gonna return done, null, and false. Here, what I show you, it's something like that's not gonna work. You're gonna see what I'm gonna mean in one moment. So it's just a surprise. So for the one who don't know what happened, you're gonna see in one moment. For the other one, don't worry, I'm not crazy. I'm gonna make the change here. And finally, if this two both case, it's not the one happening, we're just gonna return a done with no error, but the user, this little user right there. After that, we're gonna say passport to use as a middleware for him, local strategy. I told you, you can use many strategy with passport. Passport, it's an awesome library and they have a lot of strategy. So that's why they let you use the one you want. At the end, we're gonna export as a const because we're gonna have more than one strategy later. I'm gonna call this one out local for authentication local. I'm gonna say passport that authenticate parenthesis local. So I'm gonna use the local strategy. So this is what we told to passport. And I'm gonna say, I'm gonna open an object here and I'm gonna say I want no session. Why? Because I'm gonna use JWT and we don't need this thing. I don't want to complicate this stuff. And I love more JWT. It's gonna be easier for your Node.js app to go with mobile. So now we have the local logging. We need to add this thing to one of the route we're gonna use for the user. So what we're gonna do first, we're gonna create a controller inside the user controller. Here, after the sign up, we're gonna export another async function, not an async function, sorry. We're gonna export a function logging with rec, res, and next. Next, it's because of the middleware of passport. Here, what I'm gonna say, it's res that status 200 JSON rec.user. Where this rec.user is coming? Passport gonna put the user inside a variable of the require. So it's gonna put it as a user. So you can have access to the user everywhere in your app. After that, just by doing rec.user. After that here, I'm gonna do return next, nothing more. So this is my login. Yes, not a lot of stuff. I know, we already made almost everything. Time to jump on the route. Go there at the end of this line, do Shift Command D or Shift Control D in Windows. Delete this thing we don't need. Shift Command D, as you can see, if we don't select nothing, that's copy, paste the line below. User controller dot logging. Pause that logging. Perfect. Did I have some error? I'm gonna look. No error. Perfect. Now I'm gonna jump here. So I've created my user logging. So I'm gonna take my email. So I'm gonna go to user logging. I'm gonna create my email. And I'm gonna take my password. So think about this. This is what the user sent from the front end for the logging page. I'm gonna send. And now what happening? Oh, I know why. Passport is done there. Passport do nothing now. And we get at 200, but we get nothing because the user is not coming in from the rec.user because passport didn't do nothing. We need at the top of the file right there, I'm gonna import from my service that out service, I'm gonna import out local. This is a middleware, put it right before the controller. That's it. Now, second test. Send 401 unitarize. Why did I get that? What is the problem? I'm gonna go to my out service just for now. And here what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna log my email, my password, and I'm gonna relog after that my user. I want you to understand what's gonna happen. I'm gonna send again. This is what I send. test@gmail.com. So this is my email. Hello world, it's my password. This is the user I have coming in from the database now. So you see what happened now? Password, it's not the same thing. That's why this thing is break. Oh, this thing break everything now. How can I make it work? So easy, don't worry. Go to user model. At the top here, we're gonna need to import now the compare sync function. bcrypt don't gonna let you without this comparison. I mean, they have built something already. Inside user method here, I'm gonna add another one called authenticate user. This thing gonna take again the password, so that's gonna be another function. And here, what I'm gonna say, is I'm gonna return compare sync, and I'm gonna pass the password. So finally, it take two things. As you can see here, it take the data you want for the comparison, and the hash one. And look what is returning, a boolean. So I'm gonna say that password, because remember now, user schema, it's like a prototype of the user. So now this means the user you search and he have access to the password coming from here. And this password is the one coming from the front end. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just remove this thing. And now what I'm gonna do, it's here, I'm gonna just make if user that authenticate. I think I make a typo right there. Authenticate user. I'm not a good place. Oh yeah, right there. That's underscore. So I mean, if it's not, so if that means this thing is false, I'm gonna return this. If it's true, I'm gonna return the password. So I'm gonna try, like you do in testing. I'm gonna try it's not working. I'm gonna say pass hello world 0, nothing. Send unitarize. Hello world 1. So this is the good password. Boom. I have now my user. So now my user, it's inside my rec.user because of passport. And now that's why this controller here now have access to the rec.user. And this is what we send. So that was this thing for this episode. I hope you learned something new. And let me know in the comment, I mean, if I make some error and stuff like this. And so what we're gonna do in the next one, we're gonna jump. So what we're gonna make, it's now, I mean, we have no security, we send the password and everything. This is not what we want to send after the user is logging. After that, we're gonna set up the GWT logging. So that's gonna be again a passport stuff. So that's gonna be the next part. I hope you enjoyed this new series. Let me know how you find this. Share this stuff if you think that can help someone else. And we see later. Have a good night. Bye.